Welcome to Mobile Armor Radio, the podcast for all things mecha. Jumpship incoming.
Welcome to Mobile Armor Radio. This is episode 62. Can you believe it's 62, guys? I think we're in season
62. 5. Season 5, wow. Episode 2.
Yeah.
Again, we're syndicated. I'd like to just reiterate that we're syndicated. We are definitely after Matlock now. I've watched, I've seen us.
I've heard that we're the Golden Girls of Mech podcasts, so that's good.
That's awesome.
That's pretty cool.
That's high praise.
Yeah, actually, that's pretty good.
And this is, did I say this is Jumpship? It is. This is where we talk about nothing for a little bit before the actual show starts.
Yeah. This is the banter part of the section.
Do I get to be Rose?
You could be Rose. I want to be Sophia.
I want to be the guy who was the maintenance guy.
No, you're definitely B. Arthur.
Oh. Isn't the maintenance? Oh, wait, that's one day at a time.
Someone can be Burt Reynolds, I think, shows up.
At least none of us are Blanche.
Yeah.
Oh, I want to be Blanche.
I don't know. You're not promiscuous enough.
Oh, well, Blanche was who's the salty one?
I think Sophia was the salty one.
Okay.
They're all a little salty. Anyways, enough of this claptrap.
Thank you for joining us for the Golden Girls podcast.
Yes. Thank you for the Golden Girl MR Mobile Radio.
We are going to have a good show, I think. Like, share, subscribe. I'll say it here because we always forget to say it at the end. Please comment below. Tell us which Golden Girl you are.
we're multi-platform now.
What mech would a Golden Girl pilot? There we go. That's a roundtable topic.
Yeah.
We're never gonna have. Okay. Anyways, let's get on to the dropship. Might as well get out of this.
I'm Bryan.
Oh, we never introduced ourselves, did we? Oh, well. It's right there. All our names are right there.
It's
all
way,
up there.
we're way
that's
past
his.
that.
That's mine. You got it. Wow, I'm a terrible host.
I was waiting for my cue.
Terrible host. Oh well. Dropship.
Here we go.
Dropship landing.
Welcome to the Dropship. My name's Rob.
I'm Bryan.
And I guess I'm Chopper.
The Dropship is sponsored. We have a sponsor for this segment. It is sponsored by the madness of John Bear Ross. Visit patreon.com/John Bear Ross or search John Bear Ross and Tribes at my mini factory. Why can't I say that? .com. And he's doing one full-size 28mm mech per month and more. It's a lot of cool stuff. Actually, there's a preview.
He's got some good stuff.
He's got a preview of what he's doing next month. It's a I don't know much about 40K, but this thing looks evil, and it's got double chainsaw clawed hands. So,
like you do.
But this is the kind of stuff you're looking for. You want some? I think they're knights. Pat, are they knights?
I've been saw out of 40K, but yes, if it's a giant robot kind of mechy thing, it's probably a knight. They're definitely not a titan.
Well, this thing's got dual chainsaws and dual flamethrowers. So, and it's got a crazy head with all these horns on it, as everybody who's watching the podcast can see.
Yes.
But anyways,
Not us.
that kind of stuff. Yeah, not those two. I could see it. But if you want that kind of stuff, check out Jean Bear Ross. Dropship is what we're working on. So, guys, I know, Pat, you've had some issues, so you're not working on it.
Yes. No. So I guess I will start then, since I'll be very quick. So a couple of weeks ago, no, it was a week ago, maybe a week ago, we had a really big storm, tornadoes, just flooding. The city of Chicago flooded, and so did my basement.
Oh.
And so I am not been able to work on anything because I have been slowly drying stuff out and kind of putting things back in order. It wasn't super damagey, but there was a lot of stuff that I had to do and pick up off the ground.
You weren't about to wade through water to go work on your...
No, and that was
primarily the compressor going in the water.
Well, it was a little bit exacerbated because one of my sump pumps went out.
Yeah.
So my lone sump pump couldn't keep up.
The video of like the Chicago River, is it Chicago River? Is that what it's called?
Yeah. Chicago River,
where the all the what is it? Restaurants along the edge, all of them underwater.
Yeah, the Riverwalk restaurants were all underwater, so it was a pretty bad flood.
Oh boy!
And there was
pretty bad rain.
Shooting out of the water, shooting out of the manhole covers, just flying in the air. And
oh yeah, those are the streets that were over the river.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So
wow.
Yeah, we had actually. If you were listening to this, we've already put it out, but there was a episode that we were supposed to record at the time, but Pat was going to die, so we didn't record it. So we recorded it later.
Yeah, that was the day we had volcanoes in the area.
Yeah, but do listen to 61.5 where we talk about kaiju versus mechs. I think it's that way around. I always mix up if it's mechs versus kaiju or kaiju versus mechs, but listen to the show and find out. Bryan, have you been working on anything?
Well, I've been kind of in a weird space of gearing up for projects, as it were. I've actually got a lot coming onto the hobby table, including a Mecha related project, which is for Deadzone the podcast. Rick and I have split up one of the new Deadzone starter packs, the ones that's Asterion and Plague, and so I'm finally getting a move on with my Asterions, of which I'm planning to paint them up basically as Zentradi. Had always kind of been my plan.
That makes sense.
Nice.
The downside is that starter set only has the marionettes, which are in the context of the Warpath universe, it's their little robot drone type guys, which is a good fit. But I plan to have the ciphers be kind of the battle pods, because they have a little bit more variety of specialized units and stuff like that. So I've got kind of the paint scheme for the battle pods being the ciphers and kind of that line of units, and then the marionettes. I've kind of decided to do it with in some of the original Macross and Robotech, there was a pink and purple outfit for the Zentradi as a battle suit, and there's a green style one, but I won't lie, I have a lot of models that are painted green. I'm a little sick of it. I just want a little bit more variety, and I really haven't done much with a pink and violet. So I've got that kind of planned, and then I'm trying to figure out what I want to do for Otasora, who's kind of a hero character that came in the box.
Are you gonna add some Spectras in there?
For the project, I'm just doing the box, but I do have a Spectra and a whole bunch of other minis that I plan to probably pile onto this project, so I actually have a nice fieldable Asterion list, and with that, to kind of help with that project, I actually did pick up the new Army Painter Speed Paints, the 2.0 set. It's kind of the base starter one with kind of your primary colors and whatnot.
Yeah, I have the mega set, so all of them.
Oh, nice. But it'll be my first time using the speed paints and that kind of style. I've used contrast paints, but I've never kind of done it out of a dropper. So I'm kind of interested to see how that goes.
I guess the 2.0 also, they don't. The problem with the 1.0, it reactivated a bit. You had to be careful.
Yes.
2.0 doesn't reactivate.
That's what I heard. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to it. I've heard a lot of good things about Army Painter and the regular paint line I really like. So
I love their speed paints.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I used them to paint my Armada army.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I've used them on mechs, I think. They're over there somewhere.
But yeah, so that's kind of the big thing on the hobby side. I've also think I finally got figured out what's been going wrong with my my 3D printer, in that the tube has been sliding out of the hot end, creating a gap, which has been creating clogs, and
I had that problem.
Makes it under extrude. So got to figure out how to solve that. But that's a problem for tomorrow, Bryan.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's kind of what I have coming up on my hobby table, as it were. But I'll be kicking that project off here pretty soon. So, and yeah, looking forward to it.
Nice. As for myself, I got bored and I printed a 132 millimeter rifleman / destroid, and I took a bunch of different 3D files and combined them together because I like the guns from one and legs from one and torso from another. So he turned out pretty good. I wish he was taller. He's a little short because he doesn't quite scale. He's probably 15 millimeter scale, I would think. He's not quite 28 millimeter scale, so he could be a little bit bigger. That's my only complaint about him, but he's fun. And yeah, so that's all I've been doing. It's for some reason I haven't been 3D printing much, and I haven't been doing any other hobbies. So, oh, I know why. I was doing my project was doing Bryan's Warpath. Bryan, would you explain what your Warpath? What is it called? I guess I don't know how to describe it.
The 10-year anniversary thing?
No, your 3D printed thing. It's back here somewhere. I have to find it. Vamp.
Oh, it's hidden behind the green door.
It was. Oh, there it is.
What Warpath thing do you do not remember? Oh.
Bryan, you made it.
The Deadzone, the podcast, like that would have. Yeah, I had designed a carrying case, like a travel case for tokens and dice and stuff like that for sponsored for the Deadzone, the podcast and whatnot. Just a fun little project. These Rick and Rob are crazy and did it with resin.
It's heavy. I had to buy special magnets. It is much stronger than it. Normal magnets don't cut it when you're using resin.
and really, even with FDM, like it took me a while to get mine printed. But yeah, if you do decide to pick this up, it's we have it up on Cults 3D. And it's a fun little case, but if you do print it full size, you will need some decently strong magnets.
True Earth magnets is what you
to hold it together.
I have a lot of neodymium magnets, but I had to buy special big neodymium magnets for that thing. So
yeah, I'm probably gonna continue to toy with other ways to really kind of keep the lid on it.
Yeah, like some kind of like latch or something. That'd be kind of cool, like a hinge.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm that ambitious.
Yeah, I wonder if you could do it so you just 3D print it and it all comes together. I know you could do that with FDM sometimes, where you just have all the bits in there and it automatically just prints the right all the.
I think the trick is,
as it were.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, the trick would be just kind of the design of it, like making sure that it fits, because one side is definitely taller than the other.
Yeah.
But other ways of like maybe like sliding, so like there's little kind of grooves that kind of hook the top, and then that way the magnets would be a lot, wouldn't have to be as strong because they just need to be held in place.
Even if it's just friction, friction would just hold it.
Yeah.
Because I printed up a battery case for something I made, and it was just friction. You just slid it right in, and it just stayed.
Yeah. So I'll probably tinker with that, and if you do pick up the decide to make the purchase on that, I will include any future upgrades and updates to this to make it and improve it, and make it better. So yeah, it was a fun little project. I'm probably going to continue to tinker with it.
Yeah, we'll put a link in the show notes, so you can anybody wants to pick it up. I think that's it for Dropship. Nothing happening really. That's why I mentioned that, because we were, had something to talk about. We will jump into ComStar once again. I hope we have something to talk about.
I will say, since we are still kind of in the Dropship, my Neo Zhang box took a hit.
Oh, no. It got a little squished.
I wouldn't say it got a little squished. It got soaked and just collapsed.
Well, it was probably was it on the floor?
It was on the floor.
Well,
the thing is so big though, I have no place to put it other than the floor.
Until recently, you had a lot of stuff on the floor. Luckily, you moved it up.
Yeah.
Like you had a lot of boxes that were just piled up. Like lucky you got your shelves together and put stuff in there.
Yeah.
Because you would have had a lot major losses instead of just boxes.
Yeah.
Well, on that sad note, let us move to ComStar. Rip the Neo Zhang box. Sing us out, Bryan.
Message from ComStar.
Welcome to ComStar. This is where we talk movies, TV shows, comic books, RPGs, video games. I haven't been doing much. I've been playing a bit of Warframe, which is fun. Turn-based game. Bryan turned me on, who's never played it.
wait, Warframe or
it's a Warframe. What's it called? No, it's called. What's it called? You've confused me now. Warframe's the RPG, right, or the tabletop game. No, it's called.
GunFrame is the tabletop thing I'll be talking about later.
I think it is Warframe then, is it? Warborn?
No, it's
Warborn. No, something like that. Anyways.
Something like, I think it's Warborn.
I think it is Warborn. Turn-based game that is. It's pretty fun, and I've been playing.
Yes, it is Warborn.
See, I was there. I was halfway there.
Halfway.
I might as well continue on. I did find something on the YouTubes called Mobile Suit Gundam Requiem for Vengeance. It seems kind of official. It's weird.
I think it is. I think it is an official release coming up. But it's a U.S. production.
Yeah, and it's like all 3D animated Gundam.
Yeah. So everyone that wanted a new version of Gundam Igloo, here's your chance.
Well, I hope it's good then.
It reminds me of what is it called? The Final Fantasy Spirits. What was it? Remember
Spirits
that?
Within?
Yeah.
Oh, that movie, that Final Fantasy movie?
Yeah, same kind of like animation style.
I actually like that movie.
I did too. But yeah, looks cool. I first thought it was like, is this a video game? I can't figure it out. But it's going to be a series of shorts, I guess. Kind of like.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see how it goes. Like, it's kind of being presented as, I don't know if I'd say like a grim dark universal century thing.
I was gonna say, where does it fit into the timeline?
It definitely looks. It looks like it's following the Zhang, or I mean the Xeon.
There's always stuff for the 1 year war because it obviously lasted longer than a year.
Yeah, 1 year.
I will say, like, I was talking with a friend of mine, and we were looking at the design, and there was something that just kind of felt weird about the Gundam. Like there's little things about the designs that just have like an uncanny valley, and I swear it's the Gundam's like, it looks like it's got a helmet on. Like a lot of the Gundams have kind of a helmet over like a face.
Yeah, does it look like it has been mishmashed with an atlas?
Well, the thing is, like, the helmet side of it is like the same side as the head, so it looks like it's wearing a helmet that's too small on it. Like,
I'm trying to remember seeing
it's
the
hard
Gundam
to describe,
in
but it's just a weird little thing. Hopefully it looks better in animation. Like, I know that's always kind of a thing with still images.
Oh, you just thought it was still? Because in the trailer, it just shows the Xeon forces. I think I don't think it ever shows the.
Yeah, there's a still image of a picture of the Gundam that's going to be in it. But yeah, it'll be. I'll be interested to see how it goes. I will say, historically, the U.S. Productions on Asian, like Japanese projects and stuff like that tend to come with different attitudes and flavors, especially war-centric.
Yeah, they don't
ones.
have the background where the war was bad and bad things happened.
Yeah,
they have it more like we won, so this is war's good, right?
There's a little bit of that. So the war is great.
Yeah, where Japanese that's never the theme in Japanese wars.
Yeah, it's how did it go in Hot Shots Part 2? War. It's great.
Yeah, like I don't know. We'll see. It could be fun.
Hope it goes well. Like
visually, it looks. I think it'll be fun.
Poorly.
That's all matters. Visually, it might be fun. I don't know about story wise. Usually, the stories are pretty weak on these shorts, but we'll see.
Hopefully, they include some levity. Like I think.
It didn't look like it.
That's something. It doesn't look like it, but like that's a thing. Like I think people forget, and even some of the like Iron Blooded Orphans is a very dark, grim show, but even that has moments of comedy and levity and whatnot.
Yeah.
So it's an important thing to include, I would say. So
well, it is called Requiem for Vengeance, so that doesn't scream fun.
Requiem for Vengeance.
I bet it's just gonna be some weird
is
retelling
Judas
of the
Priest
Battle
doing the
War
theme
games.
song?
Yeah, that's right.
I can hear Rob Halford screaming Requiem for Vengeance.
Could be.
Well, Thunderbolt had a big like jazz theme going, right? So maybe this is
metal,
the metal version.
we're bringing Judas Priest for Requiem for Vengeance.
So that's all my ComStar. Anybody else? Any ComStar?
Not really. Again, just fixing things up, and Gen Con have been taking up all my.
Yeah, we should mention Gen Con.
Taking up my time.
When this comes out, Gen Con will be on or very
full
soon.
Swing.
It's when Gen Con. No, it's the following weekend. I think is Gen Con from the 1st. It's in it like the 6th or something like that. Gen Con.
Oh, it's like the second. It's like the 4th to the 6th or something.
Yeah, something like that. So hey, if you're at Gen
It'll
Con,
be just a couple days.
If you do come Gen Con, you can come visit Mantic booth. What is it? 633.
633.
You can say
hi to me and Rob.
Yeah, we'll be there doing demos for various games. So probably won't have much time to talk about mechs, but you can say hi because we're usually busy. But yeah. Bryan, you got anything?
Well, a couple of things. And part of this is always kind of the dichotomy of like when we record a show versus when the episode airs versus that. But the finale for Gundam Winter Mercury
that's right.
happened, and it was great. Like I really like how things wrapped up. Like very very few things that like kind of leave your head scratching.
I find it a little rushed maybe at the end.
Yes, it
could have used another whole season, I think, but
it could. Heck, I would love another season of that particular entry. Even just like one more episode, I think could have just given them a little bit more breathing room for everything that they were wrapping up.
But even so, it's probably the most coherent ending of a Gundam show.
Yeah,
it all made sense.
It wrapped things up well. We had a couple super weapons. You know, we had a couple of mechs. There was a lot of drama between
we thought
characters.
Fake deaths and
Yep. And so no, it was really great, and I'm really looking forward to like as we've said it before, we've seen a huge like kind of in the social community space, been seeing a lot of people going, hey, you know, I loved Witcher Mercury. I'm really digging these Gundam shows. Where should I go next? And you know, we're seeing kind of resurgence of people checking out original Gundam, people looking into Double O and Gundam Seed and Gundam Wing. A lot of these great shows that when you think about it, it's like there's a lot of different Gundam out there for people to pick up and check out. So
yeah, I think it was a lot more accessible than the last one that they did. The one was like a continuation of another story. So this one was an actual contained story. It went. Mm-hmm. It was 13 episodes, something like that, and just went.
Yeah, it was like 2 seasons of 13, 14 or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. But it wrapped up succinctly. All came out pretty quick together. It didn't take years coming out between seasons or anything. So
that definitely helped. It really doesn't feel like it was 2 seasons. It almost feels like it was just one long one.
Yeah, because it was. I think the break between the seasons was like a couple weeks. It wasn't even. I know in the thing I was looking at the episodes, it never even had seasons. It was always just continuous numbers. So
obviously now that it's all out, go check it out.
Now that it's all out, I can go watch it.
Yeah, for sure, it's worth it.
And it does have an English dub. Like they did a simul dub with it, and I listened to a couple clips.
I watched the sub version, but I watched the sub version personally. But.
Yeah, I did too. But nothing against the English dub. I think
that'd be fun to go back and watch it again, dubbed, because the certain voices are so iconic in the Japanese. Yes. It'd be hard to hear them as anything but that.
There's a lot of the actors, like the voice cast, like were able to add a whole lot of nuance to their voices and intonations and everything. And having not speaking a lick of Japanese, you could pick up those kind of little things. So sure. I'm really curious how well the English cast was able to kind of replicate that and do their own spin on it. But I'm really happy to hear how well received that series is. And hey, if you're tuning into Mobile Armor Radio for the first time because of the show, welcome. And we talk about all sorts of stuff here.
Yeah, we're not too much Gundam lately though, but
so I will say, like, it did click for me right away. But the final mech for our main character Suleta, I gotta hand it to him, like the creativity on board. Like, so she flies into battle carrying like what looks like just a big cannon, right? With a booster out of the back. It's a full-on witch's broom.
Yep.
Like,
and the whole thing's based on the Tempest.
And it looks great. Like, it looks fantastic.
It's all based on the Tempest, so its name is Caliban, and yeah.
No.
Yeah, it's when there's a lot of subtext going on. Like, I'm sure people really get into it, but it's pretty cool.
But enough gushing about that. Go check out the show. It's wonderful. And yeah, so apart from that, I think the only thing the next thing that comes to mind is actually, speaking of doing Deadzone and stuff with Mantic Games, they're actually rolling out a new update for their game Firefight, which is kind of a squad-based battle game on big tables and so on. And kind of with that, they're rolling out a whole lot of new mech design, or not mech designs necessarily, but vehicles is a really big emphasis with this release, and including kind of a new game mode, which they're calling Annihilation, with the whole concept of that being more mechanized focused combat, where you have your list building, as it were, starts from, like, you have mechanized units and non-mechanized units, and you unlock the non-mechanized by taking more mechs. And so that's
vehicles and mechs, yeah. So you could end up with a huge list of bunch of Striders running around in a whole list. That'd be kind of fun.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if I have enough for that, but
I'm so looking forward to having a full, like, I can do the 08th MS team now.
Yeah.
As a legal list to go on.
Yeah, because there wasn't enough troops before. Yeah.
Yeah, it was always difficult to fit 3 Striders in a list. But yeah, so I'm really looking forward to that. A lot of the new additions for it, they're like small. A lot of them are small upgrades to existing model kits, which some people can love it or hate it. But I would say, like, what it allows for is a lot more variety in those vehicles.
Yeah.
And now we can really we're going to see a lot more experimentation with different kind of loadouts on vehicles. Like, okay, do I take the extra armor, or do I take the armor piercing gun? Do I, do I do crowd variety. Control? Yeah. So I think it's a smaller step, but I think it's going to really lead to some pretty excellent play. So I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be coming out. I think it's at the end of August. Pre-orders are up now, but I think that's when the book is officially going to be releasing, and then throughout the rest of the year they're rolling out some of those kits. So yeah, go check that out if that's your game of choice. I recommend it and hope you have fun.
Pat, so I have a question for you.
Yes.
How many Pathfinder points did Bryan just earn?
That counts as a demo.
Is that a demo? Yeah. Does that count as a demo?
He gets 10. He gets a thumbs up from Peril.
A thumbs up. A nice crisp thumbs up. I'll take it. But yeah, so otherwise, I haven't been reading or playing.
No.
Well, apart from Tears of the Kingdom, which we have established is a mech game.
Yep.
you can make all sorts of mechs in that. But I digress. That's kind of what I had on my ComStar.
Okay, we'll go on to the main show this month, and that's going to be MechBay Hanger. When we come back, we'll be talking indie games for Indie Month. So we have a lot of games to talk about.
Now entering the MechBay Hanger.
Welcome to MechBay Hanger. We're going to be talking indie games. It is Indie Month, so we're going to try to get some indie games highlighted here.
Is it Indie Games Month or just Indie Month, like the month for Indianapolis?
Well, that's next month.
The month of Indiana Jones.
Oh. Well, actually, July was technically Indie Month. That's when we're recording this. This is now August, but hey, you know how time works. But Indie Games Month. So we thought we'd focus on a couple mech games that people may not have heard of or don't know enough about. We're going to start with Bryan. Bryan, what is the game that you brought to talk about today?
Sure.
Monopoly.
Is there mechs in Monopoly?
There could be. I bet there's a mech version.
I bet there's some kind of version of mechs in it, yeah.
There's a Metal Gear Solid 4 Risk game.
We're going to make a Gundam Monopoly.
I would be surprised if there's not Gundam Monopoly in Japan. I'd be very surprised. They have so many Monopoly skins everywhere. So
I must look now.
Well, you look while Bryan talks.
Yes.
I will say, before I get into my pick for the topic here, I did want to shout out, I shared it in our Facebook group on Mobile Armor Radio, but actually, as we're recording this, the itch.io is hosting their Mech Jam, which is a game jam for creating mecha games. And
video games or just any games?
Video games, tabletop games. The whole thing with a game jam is that you have a short kind of window to complete the project. Usually you have a couple of requirements. I've actually participated in the past.
We saw your Strider game.
Yeah, my little Strider game. And it's been going, I think this is on its 4th or 5th year. And which is pretty cool. And there's been some pretty neat projects already coming out of that. So if you're interested in kind of indie video games and stuff, go check that out. Itch.io is a great resource for that. But I digress. That's my honorable mention. But the game that I picked for today's topic is one called GunFrame.
This is when I got confused about my Warframe earlier. This it all happens together now.
It's funny because Warframe is a different game, but it is a game.
I think every word, every combination of words is a game. So,
which is why you threw me before. Where like I didn't recommend Warframe to you. My brother plays it for like 1,000 hours. But yeah, GunFrame, anime mecha battle game, from I have it in front of me here.
Peril Planet.
Peril Planet, developed by Nathan Russel, and basically what we have is a miniature agnostic game for kind of mecha squad based combat. And I'd stumbled upon this, I think, during one of the like drive-through RPG bundle kind of things. It kind of just wound up a big pool, and I just happened to scanning through all the files that I got out of that that bundle. I happened upon this one, and yeah, it's so like some things about it that I thought were kind of neat is that it takes place like on a 3x3 table. You have options to do different styles of play, but it keeps a lot of the rules ultimately pretty simple as far as like core mechanics. So like when you're loading out your mech and everything like that, you have like a close combat, short, medium, and long range are kind of your options. Those all have set ranges to them. The big part of the game, and I think where it really shines, is the kind of creation of your mech and your team, as it were, because there's a big emphasis not only on your mech's loadout, but also on your pilots. And what you do is basically have a point set for that you're building your list towards, and you get to pick from different classes of mechs. I believe it's like Scout, Light, Medium, Heavy, and Super Heavy. And they each have a number of kind of build points, and that you can basically go spend then on those loadouts, but also abilities. So if you wanted to say, okay, I'm going to have my mech and it's going to be able to fly. I want it to be able to, have a multi-target missile launcher or something like that. Like there's a lot of little upgrades that you then add into this mech design. And it makes for, just a very creative, flexible, like I'm building this mech unit to serve a role or purpose in my list. And then kind of with that too, you're able to, you have your pilots, and you can add abilities to your pilots then, but they all kind of have like a point cost to it. So ultimately you're kind of building towards a point total. And so there's a fun balancing thing there. But like the things that I found really compelling, I'm going to scroll to the list of abilities here, specifically for the pilots. If I can find the right page. I'm on the wrong page. There you are. Okay. So like things with pilots can be something like you can say this pilot is an ace, which gives them additional kind of special points per round. You have things like cautious. The unit counts as always in heavy cover. But there's also these fun ones that are like linked abilities, where it's like buddies. So if one buddy is attacked by an enemy, either or both buddies may react just as they had been attacked. And it costs like little extra, we'll call them, they're called focus points, but basically like little command points from Firefight. You have a pool that you get at the beginning of each round, and you can use them to spend on these extra abilities. And so I just love that idea that there's abilities here where your pilots are linked together, and kind of can create a couple of synergy type elements. But yeah, so like I realized I glossed over a lot of the core rules of it, where it's like you have basic movement with tape measures, you're rolling d6s, you're creating your stats for your weapons and everything like that equal your dice pool. And then so on 4-ups is a hit, and then 6s can do bonus damage or things like that. And then you have kind of an opposed roll for defense, and same kind of thing, like your defense stat gives you your dice pool for that, and same kind of thing. So like I said, the core mechanics of it are very straightforward, very light, but in an elegant way. Like it's not, I think there's still a whole lot here of depth that you can really go to find those combinations of abilities.
So it all comes through the abilities, into how they interact and how your pilots interact really affects how the gameplay goes.
Yeah. And so like the game is kind of set for, I think he kind of said like, basically each side has at least 2 or more mechs per side, but obviously you can increase that point cost and really kind of build out some big battles. Yeah. And kind of with that, they do have some bonus rules that I thought were worth mentioning. They have options for combiners. So if you wanted to play Voltron, there's rules for Voltron.
That's kind of cool.
There's Transformers. So if you wanted,
so they added everything into this.
Yeah. There's conventional troops. So if you wanted tanks and dudes with you, Space Battle, which I thought was a really fun concept, where it's basically he's like
Gundam,
everyone's flying.
Yeah.
Everyone's flying.
I'm like, there's not a lot of mech games, tabletop games out there that are in space.
No, they avoid that usually. Yeah, it's kind of you're right. It's true.
So, but yeah, like I said, it's got some really neat things going on, and really, like, reading through this, like I said, it's miniature agnostic, but I thought, like, man, this would be a great fit for, I like those little chibi mech.
No, don't say those words to Pat.
I'm gonna say them out loud. Where you have it was a very like customizable mecha type model set and STLs, and it's like, man, that would fit really well in a space like this where you can have
chibis don't fit anywhere. Outcasts.
Outcast. Yeah, that's cool.
But yeah, so I definitely recommend checking this out. It's actually is on, like I said, Drive Through RPG, and it is on itch.io. The guy, Nathan Russel, like he even has a little thing in the back where he talks about, is like, I'm going to be honest, I made this game for me because I wanted to have fun, a fun little mech game.
I'm sure he's just like the rest of us, trying to find that perfect mech game, and he decided to make it. So there you go.
And another big point that I appreciate is a quick reference sheet that is 1 page long.
Yeah, that's a must nowadays.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely give this game a look-see if that sounds right up your alley. I think it's I didn't get a chance to play it before recording, but like just reading through it, like I read through like the whole book, and it's like I think it's like 74 pages maybe total.
That's the beauty of indie games. Usually, they don't pad them out for hundreds of pages.
Yeah, they don't mess around.
Yeah.
So, and that includes like some pre-made lists and like little factions that are created as sample ones. So, yeah, if that sounds like if you're looking for a kind of rules light but fun mecha game, check out GunFrame. It's a good one.
Yeah, it sounds cool. We'll move on to Pat then. Pat, what are you bringing to the show today?
All right, I am bringing something I kickstarted a while ago.
I kickstarted also.
Did you? Yeah. So it's called 5150 Star Army Total War. It's kind of a generic system made by Hour Wargames. Author is Ed Teixeira, and excuse me. And kind of each one of these things is kind of its own thing. Like there's a squad version where you play a leader and just troops. Then there's moves up to armies. Then there's a tanks and mechs version.
There's an RPG version.
There's an RPG version. There is so many versions. There is a starship one, I think.
Yep, space combat.
Yeah, and it all kind of it's based around his little reaction system, he calls it. So it's a miniature agnostic game. There's four types or 3 or 4 types of factions in the base game that he uses. One's Gaia Prime, one's Free Companies, Hishin, and Zuzu. And I don't know enough about the races to describe them, what they look like.
Yeah.
And there is bugs.
You got to have some Starship Trooper action.
Yeah, so his reaction is the heart of the 2 Hour Wargames, as he calls it, the reaction test. Basically, it's representing how well your commander or pilot handles stress and everything. So while you may get to move first in the game, it's not a you go, I go kind of type of game. You roll to see who activates first, right? Who gets to move their models. And then you roll a reaction test based on your commander or your pilot's reputation, and that's anywhere from 1 to 5. And you want to roll you're usually rolling 2d6s plus or minus 1 for adjustments, but you want to roll below your reputation. So you want to start with a higher reputation if you can. And then whoever gets the most successes out of that kind of basically gets to dictate shouldn't say dictates, but they get to react first. So they get to do, the different things like shooting, fighting, melee, and all that other things. So
it's almost like an initiative system of sorts. Then,
yeah, almost like an initiative system. But once you do it, then you have these tests that are based against some of your attributes. Most of the time, it's your reputation. Like shooting, it's 2d6 plus whatever you are, your reputation. Again, you're still rolling below that. And this system is basically covers almost all the versions of the game. How it works or what you do, then it depends how big your army is and stuff. There's rosters you get.
So it goes from huge scale to down to, like you say, RPG scale. So
yeah, you can even play one. And one of the cool things too is there is a solo mode, which almost is the same as playing a second player, except for there's what they call a possible enemy force chart that you would roll on, and it tells you where to move the enemy chits. Because it comes with chits that you can use as like scanner blips, and you can move them around. And then as you roll through the charts, it tells you whether or not was a false alarm, was a tumbleweed, or was it a real an enemy mech. So where else am I going with this? Oh, so 2 versions of the mech ways to play. You can play traditional way, where you measure, and then you, but you don't. There's no pre-measuring, but you measure movement. There's movement, then there's range for shooting and stuff. And then there's what they call the grid system he's got. It's basically lay out a board, and the examples I see are set up for 9. And so when you activate, you act your model in the square that you're in. And so then you move like Deadzone to the next cube. But you're not moving multiple cubes, you just move to the next cube adjacent to. But if you can see the enemy, you can't interact with it unless it's in the same cube you are in.
It represents like huge areas on the battlefield, I assume, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's roughly something like that, and that's one of the cooler ways to play the solo mode, I think, because then the little chits will move around the grid, and you gotta things like that
down and see what it is, and that's kind of cool.
And it's fairly generic in that sense, and
once again,
the play is very fast again. Right? Yeah, and the play is very fast. It's built for 2-hour war. They stress rules so you can just play the game.
Yeah, it's kind of in their name. That's right.
Yeah. Mech wise, there's 6 mechs. There's lights. There's a light jumper, a medium jumper, a medium, a heavy, and assault. Assault being the biggest. There's armor, front armor, and side armor, and there's speed.
So it keeps it pretty simple.
Yeah. There's not much stats here. I'm looking at a list here. If you're playing, these charts are set up so you can even do it randomly. If you don't want to pick your army, you can just say, let's do 3 rolls each. And then you roll 2d6 and you pick a pick. It tells you which mech it is.
Yeah, so it's like you want to just get something on the game, like you have limited time, you want to get something down.
And then you also you can actually randomly roll your rep. So like this Hessian race, I'm looking at it now. They have no one that can take a rep 5. It's X'd out in their charts.
Gotcha.
For all in all, it's a very nice system. We kickstarted it a while ago. We got the hard copies. You can get the PDFs online at 2hourwargames.com. That's TWO. There's several books for each different type of play you want. If you want to play mechs and tanks is great.
Do you need the base book and then you just get those as supplements, or is that everything you need right in that book?
I think from what I see, because I read the squad one when I first got it, and then I read the tank one when we decided to do this, and I don't see too much difference in the beginning.
Yeah,
other than
it's all
it says tanks and mechs.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, so it's I haven't seen anything in this tank and mech book that is referred to me to go back to.
Yeah, go back to the main book. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. I mean, the rules aren't that big anyway. So, like I said, it's there's just reaction tests or activations test to see who goes first. Then your reaction test to see who activates first, and then there's charts that you roll on
back and forth, and then
and then there's charts that you roll on for shooting. You get nice little in the book. It's not perforated, but it's folded that you can cut them out, and they're nice little hard. I don't know if you can see that charts that come out of the book.
Yeah, it's all spiral bound, which is interesting too. So you can lace flat and everything, which is nice.
Yeah, so there's like a chart for shooting that you would roll on, and things like that. So basically, you want to get. One of the things too is that it's D6 based, and all sixes are always fails, no matter what.
Yeah, because high is bad in this game.
Yeah, high is bad. So basically, you want to do most of the time, since you're mostly rolling 2 dice, the max success you're trying to get is 2.
Yeah.
So there's not
Snake eyes.
Yeah, there's not a horde of dice you need to roll. There's no counting up how many dice you need to do.
Yeah. It's not
just
dice
like
pools.
every 2 dice, and
that's it.
Yeah, and just roll it up, and then look on the chart. I got 1 success. What happens in that? And after a while, you kind of the charts are fairly basic. After a while, you just memorize what happens.
You'll know,
and you go from there. So, 5150 Star Army. I recommend it if you're looking actually for a really quick miniature agnostic game, too, and that covers all sorts of war games, including Tex and X. As I was reading this, I was thinking, oh wow, if you look at my background, I have a bunch of these figs.
Drop Zone Commander, is it?
Yeah, I was thinking, wow, since I don't play Drop Zone Commander anymore, I could, or I don't have anyone to play it with. I should say don't. I could definitely use these walkers as light mechs or medium mechs in the game.
That's the beauty of these agnostic games. We have so many mechs that we 3D printed or just have from other games that it's fun to reuse them in other things.
Yeah.
So it's worth getting, and they're not that expensive. It's not that expensive rule book.
Also the beauty of these indie games is, like you said, it's 1 or 2 people. These companies aren't big. You're not feeding the corporate overlords. You're just paying these people. So exactly.
So cool. 5150. Enjoy it. It looks like it's a fun game. Definitely try it out.
Sounds
especially if someone says, I don't have any miles for Battletech, blah blah blah. There's always some kind of excuse. Well, let's try this then, or I don't want to play a game that long. All right, well, let's try this for
quick. Yeah, that's fun.
Mm-hmm.
So,
as for myself, I chose to talk about a game called Salvage Union. It's brand new, just was on Kickstarter, and it's I think it's available now, or it's coming out very soon. The beta is out, so this is the beta review, really. It's by Leyline Press. It's written by Alid Lawlor and Panayiotis Lines. Sorry if I got your name wrong. I suck at pronunciation. This is a post-apocalyptic RPG, so this is not a tactics game like you guys. Well, Pat kind of talked about everything, but so this is a post-apocalyptic. There's various reasons why the world went to crap. There's giants, wastelands, and the rich, the 1%, live in domed cities or under the ocean.
Giant wastelands or giants and wastelands?
I think a bit of both, because there's some crazy monsters in this game too. Anyways, this game is you're in the wastelands. You're trying to eco to living. Either if you're not one of the 1%, you're usually like dirt farmers kind of. So these are
I'm one of the 1%.
The Salvage Union is they're kind of trying to go against the rich people, and as their name suggests, they're out in the wasteland salvaging various stuff, either mechs or whatever they find, technology, and they live in giant moving cities. There was that movie that came out not long ago that had giant moving city in it, but very similar to that. And,
Mortal Engines.
Where they ate each other for fuel.
The Hunger City Chronicles.
But I don't think you'd have to eat each other for fuel. These guys are all nuclear. The mechs are nuclear powered, so I assume the giant cities are also nuclear powered. So they're in the wastelands trying to find this tech to keep their cities going. And as I mentioned, in mechs, you're in these giant mechs going to rummage for salvage. and there's various threats in the wasteland from the rich have their own people out there. There's also giant mutated monsters and things like that. For the gameplay, it's really rolling light storytelling kind of game, which I think is very popular amongst the kids nowadays. It is D20 based, but it's the only die only one D20 is all you need. And you only roll if something you're trying to do is very difficult or to attack things. It's the only other time you roll. There's a chart that you compare against. So on 20s, you nail it. 11 to 19 success. 6 to 10 is success, but consequences. 2 to 5 is failure, and 1 is cascade failure, which obviously is not good.
Not great.
So it's so there's not much. You don't have stats. Like, you don't have any other, like, your mech can do certain things. It's kind of like a mecha hack where everything has there's a lot of different systems that you add to your mech, and that influences how it acts and what it does. But
Gotcha.
That really affects how they play it. And also each pilot, there's in the beta there's 6 different pilots and six different mechs, and they kind of have different abilities to affect how you play. The different types of character archetypes in the beta are hauler, which is an expert at moving big salvage, so they're kind of like the truckers. You got the scouts, which are kind of sniper class. You got soldiers, old veterans, kind of regular fighters. Hackers, you can affect other mech systems, which is kind of fun. Engineers, obviously fixing stuff, and salvagers, which are good at salvaging. It's kind of in their name. Then there's 6 mech types. There's the Atlas, which is a big salvage mover. They're kind of associated with the pilots. Gopher is a fast scout mech. Brawler is a fighter. Mantis is a lightweight hacking mech. Magpie is an industrial mech, and Jackhammer is a mining mech. So the game is really based around you're going to go to the wasteland, trying to find stuff. You're rolling on charts to see what you find for salvage. It's the major component of the game. So you're salvaging up, seeing how good the salvage is, and also what you find. And in the process of salvaging, you're going to be coming across big monsters. The beta does have a bunch of enemies that you can fight, and even a sample adventure, so it's always good. Beta is totally free, so you can go check it out at Leyline Press. We'll have the link in the show notes, so you can check it out yourself. It looks real fun. Like I say, it's amazing these games nowadays where they really take it out of the realm of old school D&D where you're rolling all the time. Nowadays, it's all about storytelling and
the friends we made along the way.
Yeah, you're definitely it's much more interpersonal than just battling. Like we plug for another show that Pat and I do called Dragon's Tome. We're going through Dragon Magazine every issue from the beginning. And those early ones, it's all about combat. It's not about role playing at all. It's all about this is a combat game, So it's amazing in the 50, well, more than that now, right? How many years? Yeah, 50 years, I guess, about that. It's how it's changed. The idea of role playing is really modified over those years to this kind of game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But looks fun. I'm really interested in picking it up. I don't know if they're going to be at Gen Con, but if they are, hopefully they'll have some copies. I might try to steal some from them or buy them legitimately. But Salvage
You heard it
Union.
Here.
Yes. If there's any thefts, Leyline Press. I don't know if they're at Gen Con. They seem to be very small. I assume Gen Con's usually for the medium to large companies.
But maybe they're in the indie section.
Could be. It'd be nice to. Hopefully they are there. But we wanted to focus on these indie games. Like I said, we also had that interview with Kaiju vs. Mecha. That's another indie game coming out on Kickstarter. I think that interests us the most nowadays. Anybody can play Battletech or anybody can play these big games, but indie games. Yeah. It's fun.
Yeah.
You guys
There's a lot of creativity.
Yeah, that's like Bryan said, itch.io. If you go on there and type in mech, there is hundreds of mech games. Some of them are like psychological horrors. Some are just straight up war games. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
Every kind of genre, and since we're mech oriented, every kind of mech game you could imagine is pretty much out there. So
that being said, I still like a good game of Battletech, and I still like a good game of Cav.
Yeah, there's even Cav's not that big. I would say Cav's barely above indie. So
they got a really good
AA.
Yeah, it's right. It's not quite indie. It's just next level up. But yeah, it's no Catalyst. Catalyst is in the mech genre. I would think they're the biggest company. I'm trying to think of anything else that would be even close. Wow, than 40K or something like that. I guess they're technically a mech game.
I wouldn't.
They got mechs in
them. They got mechs in them, but they don't use them like.
No, it's not the focus of the game.
They're not mech centric, and so if we're talking mech centric, Battletech is probably Catalyst is probably the biggest.
Yeah.
And I would have to say, as far as line and range, Cat would have to be a second.
Yeah, but they've been around for quite a long time. Yeah. But so check out itch.io. Check out that Mech Jam. It's Mech Jam, right? I got the name right this time.
Yeah, Mech Jam.
And definitely check out these games that we reviewed because we thought they're cool. Yeah. And
if they have any that they know of, feel free to share it in our community.
Yes, any indie games, mech games that you're interested in, comment below on YouTube. Or
anything you think we missed, let us know.
At the Facebook. Well, obviously we missed a lot, but or if you played
there's a lot out there.
Or if you played any of the 3 games we talked about, let us know how you liked them too.
Yeah.
Or if we screwed anything up, I doubt we did because we're perfect. Anything else about indie games, guys, before we move on to the ExFil?
No, just I think there's a nice variety here. Mm-hmm. You got your mech, then you got your mech/roll, and then you had your roll. So
yep, it's true. We went the full gambit, which is good. Okay, we'll be back for the ExFil and finish off this episode. Thanks to August. We're in August now.
Yay, August.
Yay.
Just so you know, the year is half over then.
Don't say things like that. 6 months away from Christmas, is that what you're trying to tell us?
Yeah, and anyone who was in their 20s, guess what? You're old now.
Just because we're in August?
No, because time is time is going so fast. They're like, oh my god, I'm almost 28 now. Yeah, guess what? You're old.
Sucks. I wish I was 28 again.
Oh, I don't wish I was 28. Maybe 32.
Okay, enough of this rabble. We're going to the ExFil.
Let's ExFil out of here.
Welcome to the ExFil. Finishing off this episode. I'll remember to say, like, share, subscribe, comment below, like we said, about your anything really. We like all comments.
Click the bell.
Click the bell so you get notifications whenever we.
I don't think the bell works.
Something.
I think the bell's yes.
No, the bell works because it shows up a lot on my YouTube when I.
Do you click bells?
It probably does.
No, but it shows up.
YouTube has bells.
It does that. It does that. But when I log into my YouTube, sometimes I'll have a bell notification. Someone has commented on your video. Blah blah blah.
Yeah. Oh, we definitely get. I get notifications when people comment, which is nice.
Yeah.
So do comment. I like reading comments. Also, join our Facebook group. Look for Mobile Armor Radio. Follow us on Twitter. It's still a thing, I guess.
Don't know if the bell works there anymore.
We don't have the other one.
I might be on Threads. I think I did do a Mobile Armor Radio on Threads. Maybe.
Oh, did you really?
No, I don't think so.
Gotta claim that market fast.
I think I have my own personal one on Threads because you have to have an Instagram account. No, you don't have a Mobile Armor Radio Instagram account. Visit our other podcast. Bryan does Deadzone the podcast monthly, pretty much.
Yep.
More often probably than monthly.
Mostly monthly for the main show, but we've been doing all sorts of interviews and stuff like that.
Yeah, you guys always have side shows going on. Sideshow.
Mm-hmm.
And Pat and I are also on Dragonstone. We mentioned it before. If you're interested in Dungeons & Dragons, or actually just Dragon Magazine, because it's got all different stuff.
Yeah.
Marvel
if you're
superheroes.
into old school TSR role-playing games, or you're from that era, go take a listen.
It's always fun when I think we're in 1985 now, so it's always fun when we come up to a game that's just being advertised for the first time. We're like, oh my god, this game.
1985.
It's true.
It's great to see the games that I played then now and see the advertisement just coming out.
Yeah, like I think our last episode, Battletech, was just, we saw some Battletech minis. I don't even think Battletech's out yet. Just in the Ralph miniatures, they showed some Battletech minis. So it's fun times. Other than that, please come back next month for another exciting episode of the Mobile Armor Radio. And
come visit us at Gen Con if you happen to be there, 6:33.
Yep. Come say hi. It's a lot of stuff's going on at Gen Con. Should be fun. There's some I know that there's some artists I follow on Twitter that are going to be there, so I have to check that out.
Yeah.
So.
I'm curious to see if Catalyst will have the Irby again.
I wouldn't be surprised. They paid a lot of money for that, so they have to use it every time they can.
I was wondering if they'd get another mech.
Oh, I don't think so. That must have cost. You can imagine how much that costs to have a giant inflatable anything.
Oh, I know exactly how much it costs.
I looked into it. I wanted a giant Pat.
I looked into it because I was looking to see if we can get a Peacekeeper.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
That'd be pretty sweet.
But it was a lot of money, wasn't it?
It wasn't even like I wasn't even gonna. If it was the paper, if I had a paper coat, I would just.
You're not even like, I'll think about it. No, you're like, no, you're right. Okay.
I can see it now too. Like that's it's too bad that's not a thing.
Yeah.
A Peacekeeper.
Brian, you start the GoFundMe and we'll
giant
get
flailing,
that
flailing. Too bad.
Start the GoFundMe and Deadzone the podcast, and then we'll get one.
I know the Irby at Adepticon almost blew away. So usually Indianapolis it's usually real nice and calm and sunny. Oh, there's always a thunderstorm almost every year though. There is a thunderstorm.
Except for that,
it's always hot and humid.
Yeah, but it's never windy. I don't find it's not a windy city.
No, if it was windy, it would be. If it was windy, it would be the heat would be more tolerable.
Yeah, that's true. But anyways, yeah, if you come to Gen Con, have fun and say hi.
Yeah.
Until then, I've been Rob.
I've been Brian.
I've been Chopper.
We'll be back. Maybe we'll be murdered in Indianapolis.
Whoa! I'll be back at least.
It'd be the irony that
this will be the one.
I won't be there.
Yeah, Brian will have the show. Brian will have the memorial show for us.
Yeah.
Well, the irony is that Pat's from Chicago. He'd be murdered in Indianapolis. Anyways, enough murder talk. Let's move on.
Let's head on out. All right.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
This has been Mobile Armor Radio. Join our Facebook group by searching for Mobile Armor Radio. Find us on Twitter at @MArmorRadio. Join us on the first of every month for more mecha discussion.